There will be 3 new members to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and it has certainly been a historical year for the Hall. No, not just because a known steroid user in Ivan Rodriguez popped back in 2003 is going to get into the Hall of Fame. What does that mean for Barry Bonds? What does that mean for Roger Clemens? So on and so forth. But no, none of that. It's legendary because the Baseball Writers of America voted to make their voting transparent, and I think it is the absolute best idea ever tonight. For so long, the Baseball Writers of America could vote in any which way they wanted. Some ballots would come in with no names on them. Some would come in with ridiculous names on them just to spite the steroid users. There would be questions about why someone voted this way and why someone voted that way. Now, there were a lot of writers who would put their votes out there and make them public. There were others that used that protection of anonymity to say, I don't want people to know that I feel this way or I feel that way. It was a resounding vote by the Baseball Writers of America, almost 90%, to go transparent from here on out. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. A lot of people feel like the Baseball Writers of America shouldn't be the ones voting anymore. That there's some old crotchety writers that don't follow the game as much as they used to, and they're getting a vote and holding on to some ethical ideals that don't have anything to do with whether a guy should be in the Hall or not be in the Hall. Now, that's a discussion for another time, but if that's the case, the first way we get there is by knowing who is voting for whom. That's it. And I think if someone wants to take a hard stance on saying, I'm not letting any steroid guys in if they're on a certain list, then let it be known. This is honestly, to me, one of the most fascinating sports arguments and discussions that exists in the sports community because it involves ethics. It involves certain things that to get into the Hall of Fame, we know of any of the halls, the baseball one is the most sacred for some reason. It's the most protected of all of them. So as we battle of who should be in and if Mark McGwire should be in or how long it's going to take Roger Clemens to get in, if the writers are going to make these guys sweat it out till year 9 or 10 or never let them in at all, I think it's a discussion that needs to be put on the table. When you can hide in the shadows behind it, and it's tougher to have the actual conversation. Make the actual points. Put them all out there so we can discuss this as baseball fans. I don't know if the Baseball Writers of America are going to decide who goes into the Hall and who gets a plaque and who doesn't forever. But what I know now is I'm going to know if so-and-so from the New York Post voted this way or didn't. And then you know what? I could tweet at them and ask them a question and say, hey, why'd you vote for Mike Mussina, by the way? Or why didn't you vote for Fred McGriff? Those are discussions when you look at something so important as someone's legacy as going into the Hall of Fame. I think that we need a little bit of transparency. I think in general, transparency is a good thing. But certainly for this specific discussion, of which it is such a heated debate, I think it was absolutely necessary. And I think it's the best idea ever tonight. No more shadows when it comes to voting. So if you want to make a point, you want to spitefully make a message to everyone in the baseball community, well, then now we'll know.